Hello, Chicken Coop Army. Welcome back to another video. Now today, we're going to be attempting the Vienna Gambit on chess.com. Now this is going to be a very interesting gambit, as it is going to give us an early lead in development. I hope today we're going to be able to get a win, because from the other games that we've had in the past, we seem to fail miserably. So, hopefully this time we will get ourselves the dub. Alright, let's go ahead and get into it. So, the game that we're going to be playing is a 10-minute rapid round. We are going to be playing as white, and the moves that are needed for this gambit is pawn e4, knight c3, and pawn f4. So hopefully our opponent accepts the gambit so that we can test out this gambit's capabilities. Alright, so our opponent for today, we have random numbers and letters. Okay, this is a very weird player, but we're just going to go along with the gambit. So e4 is first. Now hopefully they respond with the reflection pawn with pawn e5, because that would be a good start. Okay, well they did move the pawn, but they didn't move it in the right position. But we're still gonna go for it anyhow, since it is similar. Let's go ahead and see what they're going to be playing next. Okay, so they moved this pawn here, which we're not going to worry about. We're just going to go along with the Vienna Gambit. I think we are pretty set up for it. We got the two pawns out, and we got the knight. Okay, I don't know what they're doing. They just seem to be playing some interesting moves. So there's a lot of ways we can go about this, but one of the good moves that I saw is knight to f3. Because this gets more pieces out on the table, and it kind of starts an attack on the opponent. Okay. So, it looks like they moved their other bishop in place. One thing I do notice about this, though, is that they're kind of blocking their own king in, which isn't good for a position like this. I think the best move in this position will probably be getting this white bishop out, because the more pieces we get out there, the better. So, I don't really want to put the bishop here because, like I said, they're just going to take it and they're going to open their king up. We want to keep their king as tight as possible, because we want to be able to give that knight checkmate. You know, the smuttered mate, that's the one I want to go for, because it seems like there's a lot of pieces just in the way of the king, and I don't want to really trade any off to open his position. So we're going to go ahead and move our knight here, kind of getting it set up for the squeeze. Okay? Now, we may have lost our knight there, but that is fine, because now we can go ahead and seal this off. Like I said, the bishop doesn't really have anywhere to go. So even though we did lose a piece, we still can get a pretty good lead on him. You see, he just came back. Now, as much as losing a piece was bad, you know, we still got ourselves a pretty strong lead in development. So now we're going to go ahead and put our queen out to go for the target right here. Now, the only thing we got to do now is get this knight over here so that we can get this pawn protect. Oh, actually, that makes it even better, because he's now sealing it off even more. So, props to you. Okay. So, what I feel like is going to kind of turn out as a weakness for us is having this bishop here. So, I think it'd be best if we can move it to a safer square. I'll move it here for now, because it doesn't really put any pressure on any of the pieces, and it makes way for these pawns. My plan now is to push this pawn up, so that bishop has protection. Now you see, I knew he was going to try going for something like this, which is why I have the pawn ready to go. If he does take, then we'll take back with the bishop. So, yeah. Okay, interesting. Very interesting. So he's got his bishop lined up on our knight, which, we're not really worried about. We're just trying to get his position sealed off. Another thing I did notice too is that we need to get our king to safety because it is right in the middle. So let's go ahead and take care of that. I don't know how this game is going to turn out because there's a lot of different ways it can go. So it looks like he moves his knight out. We want to make sure that he's not attacking any major pieces or going after any major pieces. That is one thing I will say. So that wouldn't be a good move. We can move right here. That's fine. It keeps more protection on knight and it also keeps the protection for these black squares. Now, I'm fine with him taking the knight. That is not a problem. It actually gets us in a better position. Now we have two bishops lined up on the king. So this is going to be really good for us. Now, I actually have something very, very genius in mind. So what we're going to do is we're going to put our queen right here. Now, I know it is putting in a queen trade, but I think it's going to be beneficial to take out the opponent's king. So we'll go ahead and take back. Now that keeps the open file here for our rook to get in the game. So let's see what he's going to do. Okay, so he's just going to take back. It's fine. We're just going to keep the pressure up on the king. It's kind of squeezing him in. Every step closer is bringing us closer and closer to checkmate. And that's what we want. We want to be able to get checkmate. So it looks like he has attacked our king, which I knew was going to happen. I knew it was going to happen at some point. But now we're going to move out of the way. Now, I know that looked like a very strange move, but if I were to move this way, it would kind of block out my rook here. And if he swoops down, I'll be able to put the other rook in place. Okay. Now we'll go ahead and put our other rook right here. So if he takes, we take back. We're in a good position. But if he doesn't take, then we can actually just checkmate him right here, I think. Yep, that was a forced move. And actually, we're going to take back with the bishop. Now, I know that might seem strange, but there's a reason why I went for it. It's because I like where my king is at currently. It keeps the king a really nice place. So he is guarding this square, which we can easily do with the pawn. So that way we can pin the knight to the king so that it limits his moves. I know this knight can still take it, but, it'd be more like a trade instead of an actual loss or win. Okay. Interesting. Now what we're going to do is we're going to move our bishop right here. This puts attack on the king. And if he takes with the knight, then we'll take back with the pawn. Now, for my next move, I'm probably going to move the king up here to get my other rook out. From the way this is looking, it might be a draw game because I'm not really seeing any tactical moves. Okay, so he just simply ignores that and just moves the king. I definitely don't want to lose the bishop, so what we'll do now is we'll take the king and move it right here. I feel like that is a safe square for the king. I know it does get attacked from here, but, we can just move right here. Yep, I figured he would do something like that. And now, we're going to go ahead and move the king up. Sure, we may be losing a bishop, but we earn something greater. A check. I know a check doesn't really do much, but with the rook having the early lead, it gives us a better shot at getting the king out. So, that was the good move. That was a good move, I will say. But it isn't the best move. It isn't the best. So what we're going to do now, we're going to slowly creep up on him. We're going to move this pawn up first. We want to get those knights, so moving this pawn is a really good play. Because if we can get the knight to move away from that square, we can really have ourselves a benefit. Okay. So far, it's looking good. He hasn't really been moving these pawns, which is kind of blocking his king from escaping. And it's keeping him on that back ring. So that is a plus. Okay, interesting plays he's doing here. We'll go ahead and continue creeping up on him. Right now, we got pawns and a rook. He does have a bishop and a knight, but we have the pawn advantage. We can take out his pieces with these pawns. See, he's going to try every little nook and cranny, but that ain't going to work. Okay, now we're going to go here. Now just kind of get closer and closer to his king. Next move, we'll move this pawn here to attack the knight once more. So we got a pretty good chain here. I'd say a pretty good chain. Like I said, I've never played this position before, so it definitely is interesting. So, yep, I knew he was going to do that. I just knew it. So now, what we're going to do, we're going to just protect that pawn. As simple as that. And that puts his bishop in danger now. Because if he takes, we take back, and now he has to move his bishop somewhere, and anywhere he goes, you know, it kind of gets taken away. So, if we want to keep the pressure on the king, then we might as well go for something like this. But I don't know, I think it's good keeping the rook there. I really think it is. So now I think it is time we move this pawn up just to get it closer as well. This back pawn here doesn't really have itself a purpose. Like, it really doesn't. But as long as we keep it on the black square there, you know, it's not really going to get bothered. Okay. So now we're going to go ahead and move our king here. I feel like my rook is in a really good spot. You know, it's keeping control of this pawn, and it's keeping control of the king. The only thing I worry is if the knight or bishop go attacking like that. That was what I was worried about. So now we can go right here. We keep our rook safe, and it keeps protection on that pawn. That is probably the best move for my rook, especially since it was getting attacked. You see, he's really trying. But that's okay, you know, he may have made a good move there, but we still can do good. I definitely want to move my king to a black square, because then he would have to rely on his knight. So I think that's what we're going to try aiming for from now on. Try to keep our pieces safe from the bishop. That means the white bishop is going to be useless. Okay, well, he moved his rook over. I feel like my king's in a good spot here, as it controls most of the files. Now, for the next move, we'll go ahead and attack the bishop. I think that was a pretty solid play. You know, if he's going to be increasing attack, we need to increase the pressure. So, hopefully we can win. Yep, and we win ourselves a bishop. Let's go! A bishop for a pawn. That's lovely on my end, because that actually helps my position a lot. So he's protecting the knight once more. Like I said, I'm not after the knight. I just want to make sure the knight is controlled. That's why this pawn is here. It's keeping the knight from moving forward. So now, what we're going to do, we're going to move this pawn up. You know, we want to get advancement in this game. So if you would take, we would take back, and we would move closer and closer to the end. And I can get my pawn into a queen. That is the whole goal of it. Okay? So I feel like now would be a good time to take. I don't know though. So if I take, he takes, I move my king over. Actually, yeah, that is actually good for us, because that gets us more material, and it gets my king closer and closer to what we are aiming for. Okay, so I actually miscalculated here, because I forgot about the pawn for controlling these squares, which is totally fine. It just gives us a waiting move. And I think this would be a good waiting move now, since the pawn isn't really helping anything. So we're pretty much getting black into the Zwang, since like every move that he does is not going to be good for him. If he moves any of the pawns, they're just going to get taken away. He moves this one, I take. Okay, so he played a very honest move here, but he miscalculated. Because now, I attack both. Now, I understand that the rook is protecting it, but I can just move my... Yeah, you're just getting yourself back in the same position you were in before. Okay, so I think we did pretty good with that move. And now to figure out what to do next. I mean, we could go for the rook trade. That might be a beneficial move. But I feel like there's something better that... Hold up. Wait a minute. Can't we just move this pawn? No, we can't. Okay. Oh yeah, that's right, because my king is in check. Okay, well, I guess we'll be back in the same position here, because I don't really want to miss opportunities. And I feel like if we go down, that's actually going to be bad for us, because he can just take the pawn. And I don't want him to do that. I don't want him to do that at all. Ooh. Okay. We're going to go ahead and give him a check. Oh, now this gives us a leverage on him, because if he protects himself with the rook, we can just take it for free. Oh, this is good. This is good for us right now. Wow. And now we can promote. We can promote now. And his knight can't stop it. Oh, it's queen, baby. We're getting ourselves a queen today. Oh. Wow, we are playing really good. I'm sure we have made some blunders along the way, but in the end, I think this is going to turn out great for us. Yep. And we're going to promote to a queen! Wow. He's in trouble now. He's in big trouble. Because I got a whole queen on the board. We do have 50 seconds left, so we really need to control our time. I mean, he's low too with 57 seconds, but I think we have a really good shot at getting him. Oh, his time is going down. We might actually win on time here, because he's got to really try to find a good move. Okay, that's fine with me. We're actually going to give him a check from here. His knight can't do anything about it. He can block, but he can't really do anything else. Yeah, I think his knight is gone. I mean, the best move for him probably be moving to one of these back squares, but even still, we can get a pretty good checkmate out of it. And then we can creep closer. I mean, we could, but is that the best move to move our pawn up? I don't know. You know what? Let's go ahead and do it. Let's go ahead and do it. Because that pawn is the only one protecting his knight. You see, this is what I was getting at. And now we can go ahead and move this pawn up, which if he takes, we'll take back, and we'll pretty much be in a winning position. Oh, he's got 3 seconds left. There's no way he's making a move. Oh my god, last second. And we win. Wow. That was really good. I believe we would have won that game if it wasn't for time. Because we had a whole queen on him. And we possibly could have gotten another queen too. Let's see what the game review says. This is going to be an interesting one.
Your attention to endgame tactics won you that game. Nice job.
Let's start the review.
This opening move is popular for its versatility and control of the center.
Okay.
Develops the knight and supports the center.
Okay.
By moving here, you allow your opponent to capture your knight for free.
Yes, I did realize that.
They took your knight for free.
Mm-hmm.
This move leads to losing a bishop.
Oh, we didn't lose it.
You are losing a bishop this way.
That may be the case, but, you know, it's more of like a trade.
You allowed the opponent to win a bishop through a fork. Black will be winning a bishop with that fork.
Yep.
They took your bishop for free.
Yeah, I did make some mistakes, but we ended up getting a pretty good lead.
You permitted the opponent to win material through a fork.
Wow. That is actually surprising, how many mistakes I've made.
You are losing a pawn this way.
Wow, I really made a lot of mistakes.
This move gives you the opportunity to win their
Yeah,
rook.
they blundered their rook there.
Even with time running low, you found the move that wins a rook.
That was very easy to get, you know? The rook was just right there. So it really wasn't that hard.
Your pawn reaches the back rank and promotes to a queen.
Mm-hmm.
You recaptured the pawn.
So that's pretty much how the game ended. But my next move, if they would have moved again, would probably get this pawn unless they moved it. But we would probably get checkmate around here, you know, with the pawn support. I think that would have been a really good position. We could have moved our king closer, block him in even more. There actually don't seem to be a way we could have gotten another queen. So I think based on moving the queen here and then moving the king here in general, would have actually won us the game overall. I think that was pretty good. Our ELO is now 333, which is a very special number. We got 3 of the same digits. Alright, well that will do it for today's video. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment, and share, because at 2,000 subscribers, we will reattempt the Death Challenge. I hope y'all have an amazing day and night, and we'll be seeing y'all in the next one. Peace out.